Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the T.A.N.K Show, where we spend hopefully time acquiring new knowledge, come together every Thursday night, bringing you a little bit of value through education and entertainment. Of course, I am James from Fish Room Fever, and I have my buddy, pal, and co-host with the most, Chattanooga Ed. How are you, Ed?
I'm doing great. How are you feeling?
Awesome. I am doing a lot better than last week, as hopefully you all can tell from the sounds of it. Still catch my breath a little bit of sniffles, so apologies in advance for any of those coming over. We've been a lot better than the last week. Unfortunately, Mrs. Fever's kind of where I was last week, right in the middle of whatever crud it is that we have. So hopefully she'll get to feeling better soon, and hopefully I'll be done with this. Fortunately, the kids, knock on wood, fingers crossed, have not gotten sick yet, so it's kind of the important thing.
I didn't even invite you, but Bob and I went down to Atlanta last weekend to a reptile show.
Yeah,
but
I saw.
I knew you were so sick. I was like,
yeah, well, no, I appreciate that. I know that you typically invite me to all of the things, and definitely I would have had to pass, so I didn't have to feel bad having to pass. So I appreciate the non-invitation on that one.
Yep.
Ben Backstrom, good to see you, saying hello, asking how we are. I'm doing great, especially compared to last week. Ed, how have you been this past week?
You know, I've been feeling a lot better. You know, I don't know if I had a sinus infection or if I had that new variant or what I had after Christmas, but it lasted for about 2 weeks. And now I'm pretty much really good, which is cool. So feeling good. Now I just got to get a lot of stuff done.
Absolutely, yes. I've got 16 tanks. I've got all but one that now has no fish in it. I've got to get those broken down and then take that stand apart and move some things around. So I definitely understand the getting things done part. I was like right in the middle of that when I got sick, and it just kind of was one of those. I sit there and would stare at the tanks and go, I don't have the energy in me to do it right now. But I'll get back on that project, which is also going to be just a little video, more of the old school, if you will, for those that have been around the channel for a while, of hey, this is what's going on and what we're doing and kind of how we're doing it type of thing.
I'm trying to turn off my notifications, but they keep making little dingy noises.
Hey, that's all right. You're a popular guy, my friend. I do want to say real quick, anybody that is new and does not know, if you have questions or comments you would like us to read live, feel free to throw those in the chat. If you'll put the @ symbol and then Fish Room Fever, either before or after, or even in the middle, somewhere in with that question or comment, it highlights on my screen. That way we can read those live for you. And we'll try and get through all of those tonight before we head over to the Chattanooga Ed Show. Before we talk about what you've got going on tonight on your show, you had something pretty cool happen that you were telling me a little bit about right before we started tonight's show. Do you want to share that with the ladies and gentlemen watching?
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool. Chattanooga is doing a special on the aquarium hobby. The Chattanooga newspaper, like the local city newspaper. And they went to Aquatic Aesthetics, and they talked to Rob, and they asked if he could recommend a hobbyist that's really into fish. So I showed up for the interview also, and we talked for, about an hour, Rob and I, with the interview lady, newspaper lady, and they're going to come out and take photos of my fish room next Friday for the newspaper, which is pretty exciting and pretty cool. But it means I got a lot of work to do because I want to get a lot of duckweed gone.
Absolutely. Yeah, I imagine were I not sick, there probably would have been a kidnapping involved. James, come help me scoop some duckweed and clean some tanks out.
Yep. Well, it's not tomorrow, but the following Friday.
Yeah. Well,
so if you'd want to come, you can help me set up my sump because I really want to set the sump up. That's one of the big things that I really want to do this week now for sure with them coming. And then I've got a lot of plants that I need to pull from tanks and find new homes for because a couple of the tanks are just like jungles and they're just a little too overgrown.
Absolutely. So it sounds like we could do some trade out on some labor for some plants there.
Oh, that could be.
Now, I'm always happy to help if you need it. We can always talk about that off the air. Edward Kaufman says, what is the most beautiful cichlid fish? This is obviously one of those matter of opinion things. I do very much enjoy the Central and South Americans. And I'm gonna make some people mad for not going with a an African cichlid here, but I really do like the green terrors. I think that's probably been one
Oh,
of my favorite. Those are the really cool fish. They're big fish. They have some attitude, and they're beautiful in my opinion.
and I'm going to go with you too with the South Americans and go with the Threadfin Caras.
Yeah.
They're I mean, I know I have them, but I didn't know how amazing they were. I've got two pair or a pair that's mated up, and their fins are all red. Their bodies are yellows and greens and blues, and they sparkle. They're just crazy awesome. They look like they're about the size of a panfish. You know, they're like that big and about that thick. I could eat these things.
Oh, they're beautiful. I've seen those guys, and hopefully the rest of Chattanooga will get to as well.
Well, I don't know. That's not my fish ram. But
Scuba Stevo's Aquatics, how are you? Scuba Stevo says, tell Ed make sure he does a water change that day. LOL.
no, I won't. Not that day. That could stir stuff up. I'll make sure I do that maybe the day or two before.
I was going to say, give it a day or two for all that water and everything to kind of settle and everything to clear up a little bit. Pegasus Arena saying, oh my God, congratulations, Ed.
Thanks. I appreciate that. It's pretty neat. I'm trying to find a Threadfin Cara on the internet. Well, I'll do it later. We'll just show pictures later.
Absolutely. Kane, first of all, it's good to see you. One of the locals here says, hey, for me and the ETAA, which if I remember correctly is East Tennessee Aquatic Association. I probably just got that wrong, but locals love it. Says, hope to see you at the meet. Kenny is our speaker for February 5th. I hope to be there. I'm going to do my best to get out there and hang out.
You have to remind me.
Absolutely. I can definitely do that. Liquid Zoo Only Finn says, tell Ed we want to hear more about his quote-unquote pair.
Well, I've actually got 4 in there, but they keep the other 2 hiding at all times. They only come out once in a blue moon, and I've been thinking about pulling them and putting them in my 75. It's just it's a 4-foot tank deep, so it's hard to see where who I'm catching.
So. It's a beautiful tank though, it really is. Paul Sotero says, pick a cichlid. It's hard to go wrong. Yeah, absolutely. There are so many beautiful cichlids.
Some of those rams.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and all the discus are cichlids too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, geez.
It really is hard to go wrong, like Paul said. I'm just trying to think of one that I'm just like, no, and I really can't off the top of my head. Kimber Smith says, I hear everyone is always complaining about duckweed. I see it all the time on people's YouTube channels. I've never come across it. How do you suspect you all did? Well, a lot of times it will come in on other plants. So you get plants from, a local, or you get them shipped to you. And oftentimes it's that one little bitty duckweed that gets in there and then just divide and conquer. Yeah, just one little bitty one can get in there, and the next thing you know, it's all over the place. I have intentionally put duckweed in some of my tanks, as many of you do know already. I don't absolutely hate it. I think it has its purpose, like a lot of things in the hobby, but it's not something I want everywhere. And I do have it a sense of controlled chaos. It's places I want it, and it's not where I don't. So I'm 100% happy with that.
Well, and there's a lot of fish that eat it too.
Yep.
I'm convinced that the angels eat it because I have dumped it into that tank and it disappears. So, yeah.
I've seen a lot of fish pick at it. Absolutely. Killer Kitty away with 2 of our super stick with a cute little fox doing the number one. Thank you so much, Killer Kitty away. Appreciate the support. Thank you for being a member. Goldfish really do. That's one of the big ones that I've had people back when I was shipping out orders. I had a couple of people that I bagged up a bunch of duckweed and sent to them because they wanted it for goldfish or for another fish. Hey, can you send some out? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Not a problem.
The bad thing is it rots really fast.
Yeah.
And so if you put it in a bag, it might start rotting through the middle, and you almost have like a gas bomb, or a stink bomb. So you have to be careful if it takes a while to get to you. And don't be mad, because like I've given it away. A couple people have asked when they asked for other plants to give me some duckweed, and I said, be careful. It might really stink when you open it. And none of the people I've ever sent duckweed have ever said that they've received the plants, thanked me, or told me that they smelled or anything. So now if you ask for duckweed, forget it. I'm not sending you anything.
You get nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Scuba Studios Aquatic says, all is well, my friend. I just got over that sickness everyone's been talking about. Myself, I was in my bedroom for 13 days straight. Yeah. It's a lot of people have been getting sick. I said, I don't know what it is. I didn't go to the doctor. Because it's weird trying to go to the doctor now. I don't want to segue too far off. It's like, well, I'm sick. I have, a fever. I can't go into the doctor. But I need to go to the doctor, but I need to find out if I'm sick before I can see if I'm sick. So it was just one of those, deal with it and take some cold medicine and work through it. Killer Kitty 08 says, a friend of mine recommended storing RO water in a trash can. He used to do it when he had a salt tank on a houseboat. Are there any issues with storing it this way? None that I'm aware of. That's been recommended for years and years. I've heard of people doing that, definitely storing it in the big brute trash cans. I don't know of any. So with me, anytime it's a plastic that I'm not entirely sure what the makeup is, molecularly speaking, of course, give it a rinse out. And then as wasteful as it might sound, I like to essentially fill it and let it soak. So anything that is in that plastic can kind of have some time to leach out into that water, and then dump that water and start using it.
Yeah, I used to store water all the time in trash cans because, like, if you're keeping your room at one, temperature, you can fill that trash can, and it's like going to be the exact same temperature as the tanks. And I used to keep my trash cans. Well, I still keep them on wheels. That's how I get rid of my water. But now I just use a Python. But yeah, it works great. I know Peter from Mod Guppy, he does that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. If you were looking just to make sure there was no negative to it, just to be safe, I'm not aware of one. So you should be good to go with that. Fish Tank Barn, how's it going, Mike? Been a member for 20 months on Team Snowball. Thank you for the support as always, my friend. Says, glad that you're feeling better. Kids just got the sickness, but are not feeling too bad. Well, I hope they recover quickly and they stay in that not feeling too bad spectrum of it. And as always, thank you for your support and being a member, my friend. Alrighty, see what we got here. Alice B says, I have a 6-foot, 100-gallon tank. I'm putting a baby Australian arowana in it soon. My partner wants to add a baby Oscar too. Could we add any more fish, big fish or medium school?
What was it?
So it's a 6-foot tank, 100-gallon tank. It's probably similar to, not that you could see the full tank, but the tank I've got is my background there. That's a 6-foot glass tank. It's a 110 on the technical specs, but it's close to that. They're doing a baby arowana. It is
18-inch back or 12.
I want to say it's 16 or 18. I'm trying to think. It's behind me in actuality as well, so I'm kind of trying to think off the top of my head. 16 or 18. It's not as tall as your standard 125, that everybody's familiar with. It's a little bit shorter than that. Kind of like if you were to take the section that's behind the plastic trim on your typical 125 gallon and just remove that part of the tank. That's pretty much what you're looking at. The one I've got is a rimless. There's no trim on it. But they're wanting to put an arowana, baby Australia arowana, and baby Oscar. I think the biggest concern would be if you do something schooling, I think you mentioned medium school, just making sure something that's not going to get eaten. Both of those fish, in my experience, like to grab a hold of anything that will fit in their mouth. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind. You could definitely do another large fish in there, in my opinion. Trying to think.
Severance?
Yeah, you could probably do a couple of Severums. Definitely filtration is going to be the big thing. Make sure that you are properly filtering that tank because you're going to have some waste makers in there. But realistically, I think that you could do a couple of Severums, and those do look really pretty in there. And you've got some different types of Severums, some different colors that you could go with. So that's a great suggestion right there. Assuming that that's a fish, Alice, that you and the partner enjoy looking at. I think that would do really well. Should be safe in there. Should be able to deal with the potential aggression issues.
They're
Overall,
thick and tall.
yeah,
That's what
exactly.
I like. And they're hard to fit in another fish's mouth.
They are, and they're fairly hardy, and they can kind of stick up for themselves. So that would probably do well, especially if you can get a group, a set of them that's the right size to grow with the fish you're getting. That's something that I find from time to time people forget to take into account, and they get a fish that will be okay to go with the other fish in a year or 6 months or 3 years. But you want to kind of also look at getting something that fits the size of the fish are now that you have, but will also grow similarly in terms of over time, not getting too big and eating the other fish while they're not grown, or not being too small as the other fish get really big.
These are some that I shot from Aquatic Marine, and they're this is just a short, but you see there's two different types right there. That was
Super pretty.
Both of them were pretty guys. So yeah, they come in some neat colors.
Absolutely. Hatchery Man, how are you? Says, have either of y'all spawned blue rams in our state Tennessee's hard water? I have not. Blue rams is one I have not really messed with. They're beautiful fish. Nothing against them. I just kind of have always gone other directions with tanks. Even when I got up to having a lot of tanks, it was always for other things that I had going on. So I've not done anything with them. What about yourself, Ed?
I've never had a ram. I love them, but they're a hot water fish. And when I say that, you want them 80 plus. And I don't want to use a heater if I don't have to. And then I like to have plants. Plants don't necessarily love the hotter temperatures. I know you can get some that are, but I don't know. I just don't really want to deal with a warm tank, but I absolutely love them. I just, when we were talking about beautiful fish, there's some beautiful little rams that are just incredible.
Definitely. So that being said, again, I've not done it myself, but knowing rams and spawning different things, my recommendation would be to try and find some that are possibly bred locally or are frequently brought in locally to our water here in Tennessee that have decent success. Because sometimes you do get that fish that gets imported or brought into the area. It just doesn't do well for anybody. Once you find some fish that will do well in your water, I would look at things like the temperature and diet in terms of trying to get them to spawn, and of course having the proper breeding set up for them. And then if those things don't do it, you're just, hey, I've got to breed these rams. Then you could look into softening the water up for a couple different ways. There are various things, anything from botanicals to help soften the water a bit. We can add some tannins to bringing down pH with, wow, that completely just went out of my head.
What?
RO water. Thank you. Yeah. I'm sitting here like, what's that stuff called that's really pure? RDI water. Sorry, still not completely over the being sick thing. Kind of disappeared for a second.
I would go to my local fish store. I've got Fish Mania and Aquatic Aesthetics, and I would talk to both guys and say, do you have any local rams? Does somebody sell you your rams local? And they can tell you yes or no, and they can show you what they got. And then you could look at the quality, so you could see if you want to eventually start selling them, what you're competing against. Or if you just want them for yourself, you can get them because they're going to be adapted to your water. But otherwise, you can say, well, they have Bolivians. I'm going to go with, I don't know, blacks or, a different color.
Yeah.
And so that way the store would still buy them from both of you guys. Or, I definitely talk to your local fish store guys and find out what's going on. And they can also tell you about theirs. If they bring them in, they're probably, how long do they last if they had Because when they die at people's houses, they hear it and they have to replace them sometimes and stuff. So
Definitely. No, that's great advice, buddy. MLT Plant says, "Hey James and Ed, Monica Lynn, I just posted my first YouTube video today. Finally, ha 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 ha! Yeah, congratulations on that. I feel like I saw the notification, but I didn't. I've been watching a whole lot of YouTube lately, but I'll have to go check that out. Congrats on that.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out when we're all done with all the streams tonight.
Yeah, I get a couple hundred notifications a day, so it's impossible to keep up with all of them. But I feel like I saw that earlier when I turned my phone on. It's just kind of like Ed's at the start of the stream. But congrats on that, MLT. Scuba Steve-O says, I think I had that damn Fisher Fever. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad I'm feeling better. Hopefully Mike's kids will get to feeling better. And Mrs. Fever, of course. Everybody. Hope everybody feels better. Feel wonderful. All right. Let me roll on down through here. I know we had some more highlight stuff because the chat jumped and I had to roll back up through everything. Manes, tails, fur, and fins. Jess, thank you so much. Dollar super sticker with that cute little smiley face with the halo on it. That's got to be Ed because I lost my halo a while back.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Thank you so much for that, Mains Tails, for events. Thank you for being a member and all the support. We really do appreciate you.
Now, she's got a big show coming up, I think, this weekend.
Okay.
She's going to Tropical Fest, or Tropic Fest, in New Orleans this weekend, I think. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a fun time for everybody.
Yeah.
And I would, of course, be crazy, not to mention for anybody that's not aware of it, that hasn't heard of it. Link is in the description. Aquaticon 2022, excuse me. I was going to sneeze for a second. Aquaticon 2022 happening April 30th in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to that.
I mentioned that.
I'll be at that one.
I told the newspaper about that, too.
Nice.
To get an extra plug, and I gave them Kenny's number, so they're going to call Kenny and get some more details. Maybe Chattanooga will have a newspaper guy there.
Heck yeah, that'd be great. I'm really looking forward to that as things keep coming together and more people keep signing up for it. It's going to be a fun time. Melissa Jeswald using her member chat, been a member for a year. Thank you and congratulations. Says, love you too. Well, us too. Love you. Thank you so much for that, Melissa. I hope you're doing well tonight.
For sure.
Right. JW1961 says, I have a 55 with 11 2-inch Luna. Am I maxed out? So, given that given that I don't know you, just meaning there are some people that I've talked to them so much about their tanks that I have a really good idea of their fish keeping styles, habits, and level, if you will. I'd say that's probably a good place to remain stable at. Am I saying it's not possible to add any more? No, I'm not. You could throw multiple canister filters on there, as a lot of people have done, and just, pack some more fish in there and keep the water clean and still have space for those. But I really think in terms of enjoyment, if you're at a point where you're not having aggression issues, everything's working well, the fish are happy, you're getting good colors out of them, that's probably where I would sit at. Now, Mrs. Fever, she's listening, she may chime in because she's the African single person. Go, no, you should do this. But honestly, I feel like that's probably a good spot. I would think, of course, this is me, I'm the Pleco guy. I would be looking into, look around at different Plecos, find one that could go in there that, of course, not a common Pleco, but find one that could go in there that you enjoy to add that maybe a little bit of variety that I think you're probably looking for. You want to add something potentially. So maybe give that a thought. That's just me. What do you think, Ed? You've kept African cichlids before.
Well, if you're talking about how many fish can I put in a fish tank, or how big of a fish can I put in a fish tank, you could take probably a Pleco you can't even see my hands, a 20-inch pleco and put it in a 20-gallon long and hook it up to filtration and constantly giving it new water, and it's going to live.
Yeah.
But it's just not going to be happy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if your fish looks miserable, then don't do it. You know?
Right.
People always want to be quick to judge others and say you've got too many fish in a fish tank. Like, fish stores consistently keep their fish tanks overstocked, but they're constantly doing water changes and filtration, so they can do that. Bob Taylor's got incredibly packed fish, but they're all incredibly, well taken care of because he's always doing water changes and filtering, and he does an amazing job. So he's just like a fish store, how he's keeping his fish. I wish I could be that committed. I'm always paranoid, so I've got a 200-gallon tank I'm looking at right now, and it has 6 fish in it. So, I've got, and I mean they're only like this big a fish.
Now, on the flip side of that, though, I feel like I've seen some of your 20 longs with 150 guppies in those things.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I have a lot of guppies.
Yeah, it all goes back to perspective, like you mentioned. I have quote unquote overstocked tanks in that sense. Of people like, that's too many fish in there. Oh no, everybody's happy. They've got room to move. There's no fish that are physically cramped by the space, and the water conditions are all where they should be at. J-Dub, if you're sitting there going, forget this guy, I want to add 5 more in there, go for it. I'm not going to tell you that's wrong to do. And everything in theory would be fine. I would kind of stick to the standard practices with, components of I always shifted things around to get rid of territorial issues when adding new fish, just to keep everybody kind of happy and let them set their own hierarchy again once you get the new fish in there. But I don't think that would be a bad thing. Like I said, if you're happy and fish are happy where you're at, I think you're at a good number. If you wanted to add a couple more, I'm not going to say that you're wrong for doing that.
Yep.
Alrighty. Rustic Nashville, thank you so much. Really looking forward to getting to meet you. $20 super chat. It says, shout out Tennessee Fish Mafia from the Assassin Snail.
Yes,
Lots of snails and hearts. I love it. Thank you so much for that, Rustic. And thank you for being a part of that Tennessee Fish Mafia.
We need to make a special sticker for her or something with a snail with a ship or something. Yeah. You can't really do a groat because they'd have to have 2 hands.
Yeah. Definitely do something. Vinicus, seriously, thank you for the support, Rustic. I really do appreciate that. Alice B says, awesome suggestion, Ed. I love the red spot Severum or gold Severum. Thanks for the help. There you go. This guy, the helpful one, over there, this way. I can remember how to point on camera. All right. Phone. I read phone in the comment as I was trying to say the chat jumped on me. Pegasus Arena says, darn, phone is dying, so sadly I have to go. Try and catch the replay. Arena, if you're still around, have a wonderful night. Sorry your phone's going dead. But hey, better your phone than you, right?
Yeah, or your fish.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me scroll back up here.
That's pretty good.
All right. See, Myrtle, thank you so much for that. Paul says, be careful with the source of the rams. In some strays, the genetics are just bad. Yeah, that's a very good point, Paul. I think rams are one of those that I feel like I've heard of that more frequently than a lot of things getting bad genetic lines. But that definitely can happen with potentially any fish, but a lot of fish. Case in point, guppies, the box store guppies that you see. I don't feel like I've ever seen a good genetic line of box store guppies. That's something that Ed and I have talked about a lot. The typical expectation is, we just try and keep them alive long enough to pop out some babies, because usually that first generation you buy, they don't do very well. And then the babies do progressively better, having them born in our water, and then the next generation is really where things start to take off, and they get super, super hardy being the second generation born.
Yeah, my last hot water fish or warm water fish was box store guppies. I saw some that I thought, that's neat. I could make this a project. I'm going to try to make these into something good. I could never get it so they could handle water even as low as 79. As soon as it hit 79, they're falling apart.
Yeah.
I ended up losing them all because I had one heater in that one, and plus the room was heated, and that heater went out, and they all croaked. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've had it happen before, unfortunately, too. So, yeah, definitely. But no, that's a great point call on the rims there. See, Mississippi Hippie, how is it going? Says she's going Saturday and planning to go to Aquaticon in Tennessee, too. Awesome. Look forward to getting to see you again. It's going to be a lot of fun. It really, really is.
It is. Alex is saying for guppies, yeah, they were a pet store, not a local, like a chain pet store guppy. They weren't nice. They were orange, and I just wanted to try to make them into something. I couldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have some guppies that can handle all my guppies are healthy and strong, except for that one set I had.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I know that you've gotten some that were similar to that again, you've gone into first, second, and I'm sure you're way deep in generations that are phenomenally hardy, strong guppies.
Yeah.
It's just that original set of genetics. It's like these things can't handle anything.
My F1s and F2s of those mollies are doing great in the 55. They're a lot of fun to watch because they kind of school more than the guppies that are, domesticated guppies. Yeah. They're pretty neat that way. It's kind of neat seeing them all kind of dart around in groups. They've made like 3 little groups. I like it.
That is awesome. Chris Patterson, been a member for almost a year now. Thank you so much for that. Says Tom and I got our Aquaticon tickets last weekend. Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing the Pattersons again. It's been a while since we got to hang out with them.
Heck yeah.
So, because it's been 10 months now? Almost a year? I know it's been a while.
I think it's been Cincinnati.
It might have been.
Because Tom was just telling me that they're going to be having an event February. I wrote it all down somewhere. Oh, maybe it wasn't Tom. Maybe it was John from Select Pet.
Gotcha.
But he was Cincinnati's going to have it one weekend, and then the next weekend was Indy or something like that.
Okay.
But it's just right now, James and I have so many things on our plates. We just really can't do but one thing a month, really.
Yeah.
February, we might end up having 2, though.
Hey, we're blessed to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, we're going to be going up to the fish club in Kentucky, which you guys might want to come down and hang out with us. Yeah. We're just going to goof off and talk for a while. And but James and I are going to be talking the 19th in February. And then I think Aquashella is the last weekend.
Yeah.
Of that.
Yep. Lots of stuff going on. Now, I'm really looking forward to doing that presentation. That's always humbling when a fish club reaches out and says, hey, will you come talk at one of our events? So very cool. They did that. I'm looking forward to it. And again, the Pattersons, thank you all so much for the support throughout the years and being a member. Very much appreciate that. Scuba Stevo asking if Aquaticon is a one-day thing. Yes, it is. This is the first one, and we're doing a one-day, I don't want to call it a trial run, because really when you're talking about over 16,000 square feet plus the speaking room, there's not really anything trial size about it. It's going to be a big event, but this one is definitely a one-day event. The first go around, and who knows if this is as successful as we hope it is, and people really enjoy it, which I'm thinking, hoping, and planning that you all will. Maybe we move into 2 days after that. Kenny's lurking and listening. He's going to jump out of the screen and slap me. Play that.
Well, hopefully he'll be happy that I gave him a commercial in the local newspaper.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's very much appreciated, Ed. That really is.
Well, hopefully they put it in there. I think they will, because she thought it was very interesting. Nice. There was some girl in the store who said something about aquashella. And okay. So, and then I said, but we do have a local one that's just going to start. And that's how I led into it. So nice.
Very nice. Ed the salesman here. Gotta love it. Chad Kraut's been a member for 19 months. Thank you so much for that, Chad. You've been around for a while. It's amazing how many people have been here for so long, and we're still around. It says Aquaticon, looking forward to that. Lots of exclamation points. I am too. It's just a couple months away. Super, super excited. That is going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to getting to hang out with all of you all there. All right, there was Peggy's sister Rena saying her phone was dying. Chris saying, yes, it was March of last year when we got to hang out with Pattersons. I knew it had been a while.
I just wish we would have hung out that first night with them.
Yeah.
You guys, okay, so James and I get into Cincinnati the night before the show, or it's not a show, but a fish swap we were going to. But we got at the same hotels to swap, so we'd be first in line and everything, which was really good because of how it worked out. But we were trying to figure out things to do in Cincinnati. And so we looked up fish stores, and we went to one, and it was torn down. And we were driving in circles saying it's supposed to be right here. We didn't realize the hole in the middle of the road was where it was. And so, but then we had fun. I said, okay, well, how about a famous diner or, a famous restaurant? And we had a great time at some diner they had there. They had some really weird lasagna, chili lasagna, Cincinnati chili lasagna, was it? Or I don't know. Well, so we ate that, and then we went back to the room. We didn't have really anything to do. Well, the Pattersons were saying how they went to some giant arcade and had a blast, and it's like, oh, man.
Could have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've ended up going on some wild goose chases a couple times on our adventures. We go, hey, we're going to go over to this place. It's not there anymore.
Yep.
The restaurant we were going to in Mississippi, we're like, we'll just walk it. It's not far. And I think we walked around for an hour in total before we got back to the hotel room after we walked the place and it didn't exist anymore. It had moved. So you never know what's going to happen when we go on our adventures, as I like to call them. All right, I actually got to the bottom of the chat before 10:30. I cannot believe it. So, if somehow I missed something, or maybe you didn't have it highlighted previously, feel free to throw that in the chat. We'll be happy to take those questions and comments now. I do have a comment that came in on one of my videos directly before we started. Anthony Rodriguez, I don't know if you're here. If I don't see you in here, I'll probably go back and re-answer this directly to you. But this was a good question, and I know several people are kind of in a similar situation. Basically, it was sent by John and Lisa. So again, as always, thank you, John and Lisa, KG Tropicals, for sending folks over. We really do appreciate all your support. It's been really helpful. It says, tell me you could give me some advice on supporting my trailer floor in a single wide from the late 90s to early 2000s. I'm getting a 150-gallon tall and want to put it on the outside wall. So I thought this was a great question, and it covers some things that I'm, of course, have worked with for quite some time, but also working with and moving tanks around again right now. A couple things to keep in mind when you're setting up fish rooms, or even if it's just a large tank in someplace you don't have a concrete slab for it to go on. I like to start on the inside of the house, if you will. The first thing I would look at is the type of stand that you've got. Case in point, have the 150 gallon. It's a double stack. It's two 75s on top of each other. I've always put supports under the feet of that because it sits on a short metal rack, and it's got little round metal feet that are maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches across. Horrible idea to put that directly on the floor there. You think it's I've got we did the there goes my mind again. Words are hard. Anyways, welcome back to the show. I'm going to try and be here for the rest of it. We redid the floors, so we've got the wood flooring, but it's just particle board underneath that for the subfloor. So that's a really horrible idea, having something that's got a lot of weight in a couple really small areas. That's a lot of pressure focused in a really small area. So if you're working with something like that for a stand, I always try and spread some of that weight out by adding supports under there. Even with one of the racks I'm moving in, it's got it's basically the type of racks that you have, Ed, but it's more from a retail store setup type thing. So the metal feet on it are like that, by maybe like that.
Nice.
So they're a little bit more spread out, but still with it going on this wood floor, and then again particle board underneath versus a nice solid plywood. I always take 2x4s underneath so I can kind of spread some of that weight out. So that's the first thing I'd look at. And then if you're, well, from there, the next thing, I almost jumped the gun. I would get up under the mobile home, get up under the house, whatever you're looking at, whatever situation you're in, look at how your support beams are running. And then I try and put it to where that way to spread across as many support beams as possible. But if your beams are running this way, get that tank where it's going across as many of them as you possibly can. So say those your beams are running this way, get that tank where it's sitting on, several of them. Which, you're either right or you're wrong in terms of putting it on the outside there. It's either going to be in putting it on one of the two ends of the mobile home, and unfortunately the beams are running side to side, or you're putting it on one of the outside walls, which statistically you're more likely to be doing just because of the amount of space. In which case your beams are probably running side to side, and so you're getting it divided across more of those beams. From there, one thing you can do, and this is kind of a comfort thing / a key thing, especially if you're planning on having it long term, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot. You can even order them on Amazon and have them shipped directly to your house and get floor support jacks. Usually it's basically going to have where the ends screw out or the middle will screw. So it can screw up for adjustment. And a lot of times they'll have different holes. You can get a larger adjustment to it to match the length you need. And then you get some fine tuning adjustments. You can get it up underneath those beams just to give it that extra support. So all of that weight over the next 10 years doesn't cause those boards to sag and bow. So that would be the big things for that. If anybody, mobile home or even houses where you're not sitting it on a concrete slab. I've done second floor, lots of second floor fish tanks, and then the fish tanks in mobile homes. It's not ideal, but it definitely can be done. And then just one tank, 150 gallons, should be fine. Especially if you take all those steps, I would sleep easy having done those things.
Did you see Jess said that the morning show is going to be at was it Aquaticon? Oh boy, now I lost it.
We could make that happen. She was talking about the aquafest.
Oh, aquafest.
I had to guess.
Well, and she's going to be there broadcasting, so she doesn't need any other news source. Gosh, where was that? Now I lost it.
I'm not seeing it just yet. I see Paul saying James Ed is talking about a strange diner lasagna. It's probably, I'm going to screw this up so bad. Greek lasagna. I'm just saying Greek lasagna.
Actually, I don't think so. I think it had tortilla instead of noodle or pasta.
I don't want to hate on anybody's food. Don't try anything once. Twice if there are enough libations involved. But yeah, it was not to my liking. Not to my taste. To each their own. It was not something that I would eat again. I didn't want a second serving. But it was definitely different. It was good for what it was.
Yeah, and I had to get extra sour cream because it was like super spicy. It tastes the chili that they brag about is the chili that you can find at a gas station that pumps out of the pump that you put on a hot dog. That's what Cincinnati chili is. It's like liquid meat.
Yeah. It's definitely different. You never know. We've found some truly fantastic places and dishes throughout the country, and we've found some places that wouldn't send the worst enemy to. So you never know what you're going to get. Yeah, that's part of the fun.
I remember I was eating it. I was like, "Oh, this is different. It doesn't have any beans in it." He's like, "Beans? Who puts?" Well, he didn't say it with a southern accent, but he was like, "Who puts beans in their chili?" It's like, what? Apparently not Cincinnati.
Yeah, apparently not. But God love them. Either way. Elizabeth, Florida Fish Rescue, saying hi to us. Hello, great to see you. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Crystal's Pets and Plants also in here saying hello. Crystal, it's always a pleasure to see you. One of our friends since way back in the day. Hope you're doing well. Melvin Reef saying hello. Melvin again, another one that's been around for a while. Hope things are going well for you, my friend. Hope the salt and the fresh, all the things are doing well at your place. All right. Yeah, Paul, that is a good point that I guess I did not mention, but that should be in the instructions with the jacks. He says make sure you put solid concrete under the jacks. Absolutely. So you're going to take. I've always used not concrete, not cinder blocks, not the ones with the big holes in them, but you can get like the 3 inches or so thick chunks of concrete that are otherwise the same dimensions as cinder blocks, concrete blocks. You can use those underneath there.
Fish and Flora says, Ed, you're eating at the wrong places. Well, I think the place was called the Blue Bell or the Blue Ribbon. It's a famous place there in Cincinnati. Everybody knew it. So
that was the Ed's great about finding her places when we go out on our adventures across the country. Usually that's by asking a local.
Mm-hmm. And I ask more than one.
Yeah. And
food is important to me.
Of course, it's real big on reviews. So typically, if we go somewhere, it is in theory a hot spot and a good place to eat. But you never know. It happens. It happens.
If we were from Cincinnati, we'd probably say it's the best thing in the world.
Probably. 100+ people here hanging out still. Thank you all so much. I hope you're having a fantastic night. I hope if there was no education, at least there was maybe some entertainment involved for you. We're not quite done yet, but I don't think, Ed, I ever got to ask you what we're doing on Crafted tonight on the Chattanooga Ed channel.
Well, last week I was putting together the fish to put on for my mantel art. So I did the canvas part. Now what I've done is I've painted them gray, and we're going to be painting the fish. And I'm hoping to get this done and painted today. And the wood, I'm not going to stain it on camera, but hopefully by next week it'll be done and up. Well, and I'll use the newspaper people as like more for me to even push even harder to get shirts.
Absolutely. Ed, I have to ask you to do me a favor. I would guess you're probably going to go pick up a copy of that paper when it comes out.
I don't know where it even is. It's terrible. Yeah, I know. I haven't read a newspaper in a long time. I used to read them all the time when
they did the thing. Where's the closest place I could pick up a copy? But do me a favor, if you do pick yourself up a copy, grab me one. I think that's really cool. You're my buddy, and you're part of the Fisher & Fever family, of course. I just think that's cool. Have again, the brain gone. The headache is slowly swelling up. But I think it's cool to have not just you, but also our hobby being focused on in the local paper like that. So very, very cool. Jay Oliver's Guppies and Aquatics, longtime friend. How are you? Been a member for 15 months using that member super chat there. So, hey, Fish family. I hope everyone is doing well. We hope you're doing well, Jay Oliver. Hope the Guppies and Aquatics are doing well. Thank you for your support. Seriously, thank you for being a member. It's always good to see you, my friend.
One funny thing was she asked Rob, what is the number one thing that a brand new fish keeper needs to learn? And he explained the nitrogen cycle. And then when he got done with that, I said, just don't use tap water right on. And then Rob said, oh, there's that too. Treat your tap water.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For those of you wondering, we're keeping it family friendly. That's apple juice right there.
Oh, wow. But, I wish I had apple juice.
I only got a little bit. Mrs. Fever cracked the seal on the gallon earlier, and that was the last little. Well, technically, I gave her the last of it, so I wasn't drinking the last of the apple juice, But I got a little bit out of that gallon. But now I'm like, I need some more apple juice.
I have sweet tea. Oh,
there you go.
And I opened up a brand new jug or gallon for this, and it turned out I had one that was half full in my refrigerator. So now I got 2 open containers.
You'll drink it. I know you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you're talking about things for new fish keepers. I tried to film my segment for the simple fish keeping video. Got a lot of awesome people that sent in their clips for me. I've got all that edited together. I just needed to do my part, ready to go. Then I got sick, and I've tried to shoot it a couple times and was like, hi, everybody is. And I'm like, no, I'm going to wait for my voice to come back before I put this out. But that is mistakes that beginners as well as other fish keepers. But number one mistake that beginner fish keepers make, along with some other things that maybe not such beginners do wrong as well. And I'm guilty of a couple of them. So hopefully, next couple of days, all this will be gone. I'll be back to that beautiful radio voice that I have. Yeah, right. And we'll get that put out for everybody. Paul Stera with $5 super chat says to grease the wheels of 2022, and then of course adding the 5 big brown piles of fertilizer to that. Thank you so much, Paul, for those 5 piles of poo, the super chat, and the support. It's always great to have you here. You are one of those people, and I know I quote unquote call you out on it a lot, but you really are one of those people when it comes to the whole thought of time acquiring new knowledge, the T.A.N.K show. You're one of those people that comes to mind because every week you've got something to add to the conversation, and I appreciate that. We've got a lot of people in here that add to the conversation. We really do. But you're one of those that I can't think of the last time that you didn't drop some sort of knowledge or information on us, during one of the live streams. So thank you as always for that, my friend. All right, really made it down to the bottom. This is great. I'm almost wondering I should have done a topic. I was talking to Ed beforehand. I'm like, maybe we'll do a topic. I'm like, well, typically when we do a topic, I run 10, 15 minutes over trying to get caught up on questions. So tonight we'll just kind of fly, with questions and comments and kind of chit chat back and forth. Oh goodness. Anything you would like to add, Ed?
Well, I don't know. I had a good time going back to Atlanta. It's always fun because you never know what you're gonna find. And I bought what looks like a Windalove Java moss or Java fern,
Okay.
but it's not aquatic. It's actually called a bird nest, and it's a huge fern. But it's like the fern, like the Java, has the long, but then it has like these little things on the end. This has those.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I had to buy it. It was $18, and it was huge, and I got it, and I was super happy. But now I know that the humidity here in Chattanooga is pretty horrible 9 out of 12 months of the year. So, because it rains like 4 to 5 days a week here. So I'm not worried about it during the summer, but right now, it rained today too. It still rains, but there's not humidity. So I'm thinking about putting it in my fish room and putting a glow light on, or a grow light on it, and hope I can keep it alive until like 3 or 4 months down the road.
Definitely. Yeah, humidity it's a heck of a thing. This room is absolutely horrible in humidity, which is another reason why I'm moving some tanks out of here. It's just not in the area that I have the dehumidifier setup going and the maximized airflow. So I can kind of smell it's a little musty in here right now, and that's really bothering with everything else that's going on with the sinuses. I'm like, God, it's musty. And that's a humidity issue, unfortunately.
There's Rack.
Hey,
and,
Rack.
I was going to try to talk to you to see about going to see Rack, and then I was like, oh, he's sick.
I know Rack does not want me coming by his house while I am sick. I know, bless his heart, he's one of the like, James, brother, I love you. I'd love to see you, but I don't want you anywhere near my house if you've got that crud. You just stay home and get better, and we'll talk to you later about it.
Well, maybe Tuesday next week.
Yeah, I'll put it to you this way. I've got people that owe me money that are bugging me like, hey, when can I come by the house and finish that layaway plan off? And I'm like, you have to wait. We're sick. You can't bring me money. Go away. So, everything, excuse me, has kind of been put on hold. Xanadu, excuse me, try not to cough on again. Xanadu, what's going on with $5 super chat? I hope those fish are doing well. I think about that. People that I've sold and shipped fish to, I'm like, I wonder how those are going. I wonder what those colonies are looking like. $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Happy 2022, fish fan friend. Well, let's hope this is a better one. Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope it's better than the past 18 months, 2 years. Much love to you. Much love to you all. I butchered all of that. I was getting paid to read it and could not do it. So help me God. So I didn't go into acting, right? Anyways, I thank Xanadu. Very much appreciate that. Hope all is well with you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this year. I think it's going to be a great year. I'm downsizing things, but I'm also focusing in, and that's going to allow me to do some more projects. Sorry, I've got the 125 with the Bishers over here, and they're always active while we're doing the stream every Thursday, so it kind of draws me over. I've had some projects that I haven't had room to do, and I'm really looking forward to those because right now it's like, how are these fish tanks? It's wonderful. I don't have a filming area. Like the last video I did, um, the light review. It was done in like I don't know, maybe a 20-inch by 16-inch section of the desk, and I had to like set everything just perfect. It's just fish stuff everywhere. But it's going to give me some more places to do some more projects. I've got some fun DIY stuff planned. I missed sharing that with you all. That was one of the things when I first got on here doing more DIY stuff. So I've got some fun stuff to share, and you all seem to enjoy that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Excuse me. But yeah, I think 2022 is going to be amazing. All right. I thought I missed something. I did not. It is 10:27 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, there it was. I knew I saw a highlighted comment. Paul Stero said, "It's a pleasure to hang with you and Ed and the rest of the fish nerds." Absolutely. That is why we are here. That is why we do it. 100 people chilling on a Thursday night. Gotta love it. And crazy, beautiful fish people.
Yeah, I should log on and then hit the like button.
Oh, I appreciate that, Ed. I do. And a huge thank you to the Gray Button Gang. You all are awesome. Appreciate all you people that made that button gray. I forget. I heard somebody else. I can't take full credit for that. It was like Gray Button Squad. That's people that have subscribed, because once you hit subscribe, it goes from red to gray.
Oh,
So he was like Gray Button Squad or something like that. And I was like, I like that. We're gonna have like a Gray Button Gang or something.
yeah.
We'll play with that term.
You got the Gangrene Gang and Powerpuff Girls. Do you remember them?
No, I haven't heard the name Powerpuff Girls in a long, long time, my friend.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. That brings. All right, I'm gonna have to pull up some old school cartoons. I'm not gonna be on the Chattanooga Ed Crafted show because I'm gonna be watching Powerpuff Girls. Just kidding. But yeah, I haven't thought about that show in a long time, but I do remember watching that. That was kind of a staple of cartoons as a kid. There's our buddy Rack Bird Garden with $5 super chat. Rack, never expected, always very much appreciated, my friend. Fish Room Fever rocks. Oh, do we have rocks? I don't think I have any branded rocks. Oh, no, I know what you meant. You meant having Fish Room Fever rocks. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Bird Garden. Again, I know it's been a little while now, but I feel like I haven't said it enough. Congrats again on hitting that 1,000 subscribers on your Bird Garden channel. That's always a huge milestone. What is your second channel? Even more so. So congrats again on that, my friend.
And I've been terrible. I keep wanting to tell my dad about it because I know he would enjoy it.
Absolutely. And a special hello to Eduardo. I know he thought I had overlooked him a couple of times, but I see you there saying, "Love you, James and Ed," even if it's not highlighted. I still see it, Eduardo, and I still appreciate it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that puts us at, move this over, 58 minutes and 39 seconds. I don't know if I can do another minute and 20 seconds. Whatever shall I do? So one of the projects I'm looking at doing, it's going to be kind of rebuilding tanks. It's going to incorporate taking a tank, taking another one apart. Think kind of Peck Tech steampunk tank type of project, something along those lines, without giving away too many details. But I wanted to play with. I've got.
This is my steampunk one,
and I love that. I love that thing.
I'm gonna put a push pop or push light up here. One of those push pop lights, so it'll shine down on it, so you can see a little more of the chrome in the back.
That's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, just got done with this whole thing again, so now Nico can be up here because he didn't want to be in there.
God love the cats. They dictate a lot of fish tank related stuff. I had to change the covers on the piranha tanks because one of the cats wanted to get around the openings and try and drink out of the front. I'm like, that's a good way to lose part of your face. We're going to have to go.
Oh my gosh,
Sorry,
that would
buddy.
be horrible.
Yeah. So it's like, no, we're going to have to lock this down to where you're not trying to drink out of it. And bless his heart, he, most cats are really good about jumping and landing. I've had several cats that will jump up and land on the rim of the tank and just do it flawlessly, cat style, if you will. He likes to try and get into the 20 longs that I've got on the bottom, or I've got a whole rack of 20 longs. He likes to try and get in the bottom ones. Every time he jumps on that tank, at least 1 foot goes in the tank. I mean, he just cannot make that jump successful. I'm just like, you definitely don't need to be going near a piranha tank, my friend. But that's some of the kind of do-it-yourself stuff. And I've thought about reviving a couple of things. Some videos I did before that were way back at the start of the channel. They got like 60 views to date that I know people would really enjoy if they actually knew that the video existed. So kind of getting supplies to just redo those projects. So that'll be fun. That's the stuff I really enjoy sharing. Levi, thank you so much. And I like the beard. This is the sick beard. This is the 2 weeks of coughing, no shaving beard. The hair's doing this crazy thing. But thank you. I appreciate that.
You look like a professional sailor.
Arr, be a pirate.
Paul asks, when is Deadpool going to get a new home? That's a really good question. I think Sean Peck has been wanting to shoot my fish room for a while. And I told him about the newspaper thing today, and I said this would be a good time to do it. So he's going to, I think, come over next weekend and try to get him to do this tank. Oh, can't find it. There it is. And then let him shoot my fish room. So he might get 2 shows out of 1.
Absolutely. It's going to be awesome.
And maybe he would play the dinosaur game.
Absolutely.
You could come with him, and maybe you'd want to play it with him.
I was about to say, I might end up down there. I know Sean and I have talked about going to do some things. Right before I got sick, he was like, hey, let's go out and go to fish stores or do something. Just go hang out and do something. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, oh, I'm sick. So, yeah, that would be really cool. And then I could film my own kind of sort of stuff. It's me, so I'll sit on it for 8 months before I ever put the video out. So it'll be definitely away from Sean putting his out in the newspaper ad. But
yeah, I thought I would finally shoot my own fish room and then wait a little while and put it out too. Just so they don't all pop at once. But yeah, that'd be too cool. Maybe you guys would want to stay over, or you could stay here and he could stay at his mother-in-law's, bring his wife down.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
maybe we could go to the aquarium or something too.
Yeah, we'll have to hash that out and get some more details off the air. Let everybody know exactly where we're going to be at the time. We've got too many people following us around, paparazzi. We got to keep things on the down low here. That being said, it is time for the Chattanooga Ed Crafted Show. Ed, again, as always, thank you for being here. Really do appreciate it. Sorry, everybody. I'm kind of bouncing around. Head's not fully in the game yet, but we're getting better. Better than last week, I think. So hopefully next week we'll be back to 100%. I will be able to speak properly for the entire duration of the show. How amazing will that be? The link is in the chat if you're rolling along live with us, or in the replay of the chat if you're catching the replay. You can click on that and go check out the replay on Ed's. A huge thank you, of course, my buddy, pal, and co-host, Chattanooga Ed, the moderators, the members, lurkers, listeners, super chatters, contributors, questioners, commentators, of course, the replay crew. I love you guys. Appreciate you all. Until next time, keep your fish healthy. Keep yourselves healthy. Don't be afraid to catch yourself a little fish root fever. We love you. Bye, guys.